goes to right. Russell Westbrook. You love the Philadelphia Eagles. Let me get a hell yeah!
What is up, everybody? Welcome to Party on Broad. The Party on Broad podcast can be found on iTunes and Spotify. If you're watching us here at the Painted Lines YouTube channel, make sure you smash that subscribe button. Comment below. We want to interact with you guys as much as possible. Joining me today is my man Dylan. You know him as part of the Faithful Fanatics podcast. What up, Dylan?
Not much, man. Game day.
Is there anything better, baby? Is there anything better? And
game day with an Eagles win.
Amen, brother. Also joining us today is my man Brian. Everyone here knows him as Wild Wild West. What's up, Brian?
Hey, how's it going?
It's going well, man. It's going well. I literally just got back from Philadelphia. We spent the last 2 nights in Philadelphia and South Philly. Got to hang out with the Pandemic crew. Got to talk to the leaders of the Pandemic crew and Sons of Ben. That was pretty fun. You were there recently, right, Dylan?
No. I'm planning on going. I want to do a live stream. I want to do a live broadcast from the center field gates before the Phillies game.
Love it. All right, let's get started. This is the pregame show. The Eagles take on the Rams in about 2 hours. We're going to talk about the keys to the offense. We're going to talk about the keys to the defense, make some predictions, the stars of the game. Let's get it rolling. I think you got to start off with the keys to the Eagles offense, and that is Aaron Donald versus the Eagles offensive line. Lane Johnson is returning to the line today, which is so huge. But let's be real. Jason Kelce, Nate Herbig are going to have a long afternoon today versus the Rams. I expect a ton of stunts to keep that Eagles offensive line off balance. Aaron Donald is a beast. He had 1 sack versus Dallas during week 1, but 7 quarterback hurries and 2 quarterback hits over Dak Prescott. The dude is all over the place. Meanwhile, the Eagles gave up 8 sacks, 14 quarterback hits, and only rushed for 57 yards versus Washington. The Eagles have a very good history versus Aaron Donald and the Los Angeles Rams. 3 games versus Philly. Aaron Donald had 5 tackles and 0 sacks. Doug Peterson has a history of neutralizing this guy. And you look at the Eagles versus Rams over the last 14 games, they won 11 of them. So I know this doesn't have anything to do with Aaron Donald, but Lane Johnson being back at right tackle has to bring a smile to Carson Wentz's face. When Lane Johnson doesn't play and Carson Wentz is under center, the Eagles are 6-12. When he's playing, the Eagles are 36-17. With Lane Johnson in the lineup, Carson has a 3.89 touchdown to interception ratio. With Lane Johnson out, it goes down to 1.44. So you're up, Dylan. Little touch on Aaron Donald versus the Eagles offensive line.
Well, look, man, everyone's talking about Aaron Donald against the Eagles offensive line. Don't forget about the Eagles defensive line. Getting Derek Barnett back today. Javon Hargrave went from a no participant all of training camp in last week to looks like he's going to go today with Fletcher Cox and Brandon Graham clearing concussion protocol and Malik Jackson. That's my storyline today. It's everyone's hyping up Aaron Donald and what's he going to do against the Eagles offensive line. What's this Eagles defensive line going to do against Jared Goff and the Los Angeles Rams? That's what I'm looking forward to.
All right. Any take on that, Brian? And what's like one of your top keys to the Eagles offense today?
I think it starts with Carson Wentz and Doug Peterson. You know, you got to get rid of the ball quick so Aaron Donald doesn't get to Carson Wentz. Run the ball as well. They got to make that smart play call of running the ball and not holding on to the ball for too long. Aaron Donald's quick. We'll get to the QB quick. And I also see that the Eagles put an extra guard or extra blocker for Aaron Donald, as well as maybe like a tight end or a running back. Not that they had the strong running backs to block them, but I do see that.
Awesome. That's my other main takeaway from the Eagles offense here is Dougie P needs to get his shit together. Quite simply, there were way too many mistakes from Doug in week 1, which is possibly his worst coaching performance in his career. And we talked about this during the preview show. And like, there are some reports that Doug is on the hot seat, which I completely think is garbage. I don't believe that 1 second. Doug Peterson's going nowhere, but let's keep it real here. Point blank. This guy's game plan, he gave up prime field position for nearly half the game versus Washington. That has to be better versus the Los Angeles Rams, a better offense. 6 times the Washington football team had the ball in their own territory to start. It's borderline criminal. He needs to get D-Jax the ball, Jalen Rigger the ball in space, put them in position to thrive. He needs to keep targeting Zach Ertz and Dallas Goedert. Don't go away from it. Doug has this like mind-baffling ability to go away from what works. Last week we saw Yeah, go ahead, Brian.
I'm sorry. Let me. I know the schedule of the Eagles. It's pretty difficult. So if the Eagles go, let's say 6-10 or 5-11 this year, do you think Doug Peterson is? Do you think he's out?
Not this year.
You don't think so? Okay. Or maybe Schwartz.
Schwartz is a different story in itself. I think he has a shorter leash than Doug. It's probably like a Brett Brown situation. I think Jim Schwartz would probably be the first. The blame would go on him faster than Doug Peterson. What about you, Dylan?
I agree 100%, except if the games continue. Like if they go 5-11, 6-10, and the games look like they did against Washington, where it's not the defense's fault, it's mostly on Doug, then I don't think Schwartz is going. I don't think – that's the case, I don't think neither of them are going. I agree with Dives. I don't think Doug's going this year. However, I talked about it this whole past week. We have to get over that Super Bowl hangover with Doug. That's 2017. That's 3 years ago. That has to be let go. And I'm not like, listen, Doug has made the playoffs 3 of his first 4 years. They made the playoffs the last 3 years. I have high expectations for him this year. But he also, we just saw it against Washington. He looks the offense is stagnant too often with this team. This team would be so much better if his offense didn't go stagnant.
Well, I noticed that with this offense or defense, it's always inconsistent. Like you said, it's either the offense does good 1 week and then they do bad next week, or the defense does good 1 week and they're bad.
That's mid-game though. That's also mid-game where like the defense, like the offense will be stagnant and the defense will keep them in the game. And then Doug will call a great drive. They'll go down, get 7, and then the defense will give up a big play touchdown the very next drive. Like if they need to be in sync like they were in that 2017 season.
Yeah. Amen. Yeah.
And the reason why I honestly don't see them going past 8-8 this year. I kind of changed my. I actually had them 11-5 before the Washington team. Now after that, it changes a little bit. I see them going maybe 6-10. I see these games they play against the 49ers in a couple weeks. Bengals next week. Who knows with them? You got the Ravens, Steelers. I mean, you never know. I see this team not doing so well, especially with the way the offensive line, Carson Wentz playing. I mean, they could change all that and just play nice the rest of the year. I don't see that happening.
Amen. We're gonna get into our game prediction in a little bit. Let's go to the keys to the Eagles' defense. Lead us off, Dylan.
To the defense, like I said, it's going to be the defensive line. I think Darius Slay was one of the only bright spots of Week 1, and that he's shown that he can still lock down a number 1 receiver. We talked about it on Tuesday night. I talked about it on Thursday night. Is he going to cover Cooper Kupp or Robert Woods? I think he's going to be covering Robert Woods more. I think you're going to see Nikel, Robbie, Coleman in the slot against Cooper Kupp. So that's definitely a matchup. But I think the secondary holds their own today. If the defensive line gets after Jared Goff and slows the run game of Cam Akers and Malcolm Brown. So with that being said, you have to get pressure on the interior side of the defensive line, a.k.a. Fletcher Cox, a.k.a. Javon Hargrave, a.k.a. if Malik Jackson or BG switch to a defensive tackle for a play here and there. Because Goff can get out of the pocket and create plays out of the pocket as well as Carson Wentz. He's not as good at it. He's not as accurate with it, but he can do it. If you get interior pressure and you get in his face immediately, then he has no outlet. Take his eyes away. Take his first read away. If you take Jared Goff's eyes away, he's either A, going to get happy feet and you're going to get to him, or B, he's going to turn the ball over. I promise you that. If the Eagles' defensive line does not get after Jared Goff today, he is going to pick the secondary apart. I don't care if Darius Slay is back there. I don't care who's playing safety. They're going to get picked apart if he has all day to sit back there. So, like I said, everyone wants to talk about 99 and Aaron Donald getting in Carson Wentz's face. The same has to be said for the Eagles' defensive line.
Yeah, the return of the D-line has to be one of the main keys of this game. Javon Hargrave was a full participant during practice last week. And I think go ahead, Dylan.
That is huge because, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't the they made him the highest paid nose tackle in the NFL, right, in the offseason? Or one of them?
I believe one of, for sure.
At least one of the highest paid nose tackles in the league. That is huge. I was on record last week saying if Javon Hargrave stays healthy and Fletcher Cox stays healthy, Javon Hargrave takes Fletcher Cox's game to another level. Add that with getting Derek Barnett and Malik Jackson and the progression of Josh Sweat and Brandon Graham on the outside. This Eagles defensive line, to me, can be one of the tops in the league. So getting Javon Hargrave back is absolutely huge today.
One of the things I liked from week 1 was Malik Jackson and on those 3rd and short running plays. So that's like the key question that I'm very excited to watch. Like, how many snaps does Javon Hargrave get today? That Javon Hargrave, Malik Jackson rotation has such potential. So I thought the defense played really well. But, they need to force turnovers. They have to force the Rams into turnovers. And I'm looking at Javon Hargrave and that Malik Jackson duo to get Jared Goff a few minutes today, right in that backfield, disrupt the backfield, get some sacks. Major respect to Josh Sweat. That guy played 70% of the snaps last week, but that guy can't play that much with his knee injury history. He's a great rotational piece, but I'm really excited to see this defensive line, the rotation finally together. You mentioned it. Derek Barnett is back. So we really finally get to see the Eagles defensive line together for the first time. And it felt like forever because remember, Malik Jackson barely played at all last year. So this game will very much be decided by which defensive line controls the tempo, wins it on 3rd down. How much damage can a rotation of Barnett, Jackson, Hargrave, Graham, Josh Sweat, and Fletcher Cox put on the Rams offensive line? What about you, Brian?
Yeah, I actually have concern for this Eagles defense and with the health of the team. I see how tired the defense was last week. And what's really sad about it is, they allowed the Washington team to only 239 yards. Total rushing yards was 80. Passing yards was 159. And you're telling me that team was tired? You're telling me that they were average time of possession 29 minutes for the Washington team, and that team is tired. That defense, there shouldn't be a reason for them to be that tired. You know what I'm saying? That there's no reason for the defense played well too. But with the offense not rolling, the offense not gaining any yardage, there should be no reason for that. So I am concerned about that and with the defense. But I think as far as today's defense, I think they need to, like you said, pressure the quarterback and get to him quick. You never know with this Rams team. So.
My other key to the defense is do what you do secondary. You touched on it, Dylan. I think a huge element of the LA Rams offense is their aerial attack between Robert Woods, Cooper Kupp. They got a good-looking wide receiver in Van Jefferson. He looked very impressive during week 1. Even though the Rams ran the ball 40 times during week 1, the Rams love to get their wide receivers the ball in creative ways, whether it's reversals or the screen game or play-action passes. So the Rams ran a lot of 11 personnel during week 1. Robert Woods had 8 targets for over 100 yards receiving. So although Cooper Kupp gets a lot of the attention, I think Robert Woods is really the key cog to this Rams offense. So it is vital for the Eagles to bring a game plan to slow down Robert Woods today. And I thought Darius Slay was fantastic in week 1. Does he cover? Who does he cover today? Does he blanket Robert Woods like he did Scary Terry, just follow him all over the field? I don't think so. I think you're going to see Darius Slay stay on one side. Darius Slay played 90% of the snaps. I loved what I saw from him. So I would love to see Darius Slay get an interception, get his first in Midnight Green. That would be amazing. Then you got Nikel Robbie Coleman. This guy is in the slot. He's got Van Jefferson and the 6'3" Josh Reynolds. So a ton of weight is going to be put on this guy's shoulders. NRC is going to have a huge role in today's game. Any take on that, Dylan?
No, I completely agree with you. I think Cooper Kupp's going to be in the slot a lot also, so look for Coleman to be on him. A guy you didn't touch on, Dives, he's not a wide receiver, but Tyler Higbee. I know he's not a name that like shouts at you, but the Eagles. What's the one weak spot on the Eagles defense? They're linebackers. Their safeties, Jalen Mills and Rodney McLeod, are also small safeties. They are not big guys. Tyler Higbee's a big man. So who's going to cover Tyler Higbee? Is it going to be one-on-one? Is it going like that? That's a scary matchup in my opinion because we've never been able to cover big tight ends ever. So is it going to be Gary? Is it going to be TJ Edwards? Who's going to cover Tyler Higbee? I don't know the answer to that question. I think you might see Rodney McLeod match up with him a decent amount, but like I said, McLeod's not a big guy. Higbee is. That's a mismatch if it's one-on-one. Does he get two guys thrown at him? That opens up more of the field for Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp. So to me, I think this Rams offense, it is a little worrisome, but I think that all goes out the window if you're giving Jared Goff that much time to get his first readout.
Yeah, and I thought Rodney McLeod was fantastic during week 1. Any take on that, Brian?
I got nothing, honestly. I think the Eagles just have to really, manage what they're doing, like from week to week, be consistent. You can't just, like I said, you can't be consistent one week and next week you're just horrible, you're trash. You know, you got to know your assignments. You got to communicate with other players, know where the receivers are. That's every week you got to do the same thing, and especially with this Rams offense.
All right, let's roll on the stars of the game on offense. Lead us off, Dylan.
Can I go with the head coach?
Absolutely.
All right. I'm going to go with the running backs as a whole, as a committee. Having Miles Sanders back is huge, not just for the running game, not just for how he can catch the ball out of the backfield, but he's probably the only running back on this active roster that can pass protect and block and pick up a block. Or a blitz, So that's huge in itself. But you have to remember, I know he said he's 100% healthy and he's ready to go. And I know Doug and Deuce Staley gave him the keys to this offense, told him he's the man going into the season. Will he get 20 carries? Maybe. But he has barely played all training camp. There were no preseason games to get him in. He didn't play last week. He didn't even travel with them last week. So to me, I don't see Miles Sanders getting 18, 19, 20 touches today. I think it's a committee look. I think he starts the game. I think he plays. I think he obviously plays and gets more touches than Boston Scott and Corey Clement. But I think it's a committee look. And if that's the case, I just think they had to produce as a whole. And I'll get to as why when we get to our game predictions.
All right, Brian, start of the game on offense for you, dude.
It starts with the offensive line. Lane Johnson back, starts with them, and then that's where that run game comes into Dylan. You run the ball, especially with their screens. You need that outside blockers, and that's where that starts for me. So.
All right, for me, we all know Deshaun Jackson. Assuming he can play a full fucking game, who really knows at this point? But he's going to be covered by one of the best in Jalen Ramsey. So I'm going to go to the other side of the ball and go to my boy, Jalen Reagor versus Troy Hill. I was thinking about taking Greg Ward here, a little nod to Wild Wild West down there. So I think Greg Ward could be actually pretty big in this game. But my gut tells me that Doug –
I was half right last week.
It didn't work out very much.
No.
Doug finally puts this guy in position to thrive. I think we're going to see Jalen Reagor much more involved on offense this week, getting the ball in space, in motion, getting more snaps in the slot. You saw CeeDee Lamb versus the Cowboys. He's the second wide receiver there. 5 catches for 59 yards on 6 targets during week 1 versus the Rams. Troy Hill is a really good player, but outside of Jalen Ramsey, I don't think anyone on that Rams can really match up with Jalen Reagor's speed. So that's where I'm going. Jalen Reagor's my guy this week. Doug and Carson need to let this offense loose, and that starts that strike first, fast, vertical offense starts with Jalen Reagor this week. I actually see Jalen Reagor involved in the screen game this week too. Maybe some quick slants. I'm hoping Doug Peterson watched that tape and realized they need to get this guy the ball in space, get that yards after the catch rolling. So I expect a big game from my man Jalen Reagor versus the Rams. All right, let's move on to stars of the game on defense. Go ahead, Dylan.
On defense, I'm going to go with Fletcher Cox. And that is because of what I've been saying all show is the fact that everyone's talking about Aaron Donald literally for a week now, ever since we saw that piss poor performance from the offensive line in week 1. Oh, my God, what is Aaron Donald going to do? Oh, my God, did you see Aaron Donald versus the Cowboys offensive line and how he threw Zeke to the ground? And how's he going to destroy the Eagles offensive line? Fletcher Cox, to me, when he's at the top of his game, is in that tier of Aaron Donald. He's not as good as Aaron Donald. He's not as quick. He's not as strong. But he's in that tier of defensive tackle, that can disrupt a game. With having Javon Hargrave back and Malik Jackson, that takes away a lot of the double teams from Fletcher Cox. You're not going to be able to double team Fletcher Cox with Malik Jackson on one side and Javon Hargrave on another side. And if you do, then one of the other two are going to eat. So Fletcher Cox, to me, has to get to that tier today. If Aaron Donald's disrupting a play, Fletcher Cox has to come out and get in Jared Goff's face.
Love it.
Bottom line.
Sure. That was also mine. I have nothing really to add to that. The excuses have to stop. He was kind of quiet during week 1. I know the defensive line was overall pretty good, but the excuses need to stop. He's got Javon Hargrave, Brandon Graham, Derek Barnett, Malik Jackson. Like, this is his opportunity to really just dominate. Go ahead, Brian.
I was gonna say, for me, it's a Eagles defense speed. You gotta get to the QB faster. They got a ton of speed on that defense, and last week you had 3 sacks, which is not. I mean, I guess about normal. It's okay, but I expected more. With this defense, and so I expect to see that. I expect to see a little bit more blitzes, especially with Jared Goff and how quick he can get rid of the ball. So. Yeah, that's what I expect.
All right, let's roll on to the last segment of the show, game prediction. Go ahead, Dylan.
How much time do I got?
All day, baby. At least until 1.
All right. Listen, I'll try to make this as quick as possible and as painless as possible. But there's so much that goes into this game. I said it earlier in the week, and I know this is not like me whatsoever. I'm not this person. But hold on, before I get into my game prediction, we just have to say, wow. What's going on, buddy?
Yeah! Italy!
Thanks for watching.
Thanks for joining, man.
Okay. This game is – I said it was. I'm going to keep saying it. It's a must-win game. You guys hit on it earlier in the show about the strength of the schedule coming up. The first 3 games were looked at as 3-0, minimum 2-1. Well, now dropping the ball against Washington, you cannot go 0-2, and then even if you beat the Bengals, you're going 1-2 into the 49ers, Steelers, Ravens, Cowboys twice, Packers, Seahawks, Cardinals. Like, this schedule is a division winner,
brutal
all across the board. So this is a must win, and I think Doug knows that, and I think you're going to see a lot about this team. But here's what needs to happen. Doug, move the pocket. You have to know. Everyone is talking about it. 99 is a beast. If you do not move the pocket, he's going to get after Carson Wentz. If you have to move the pocket, you have to get the ball out of Carson's hands quicker. Dibs, you talked about it. Screen game, slants, 5-yard out routes, whatever. Get the ball into your playmakers' hands. Jalen Reagor, Deshaun Jackson, Greg Ward, John Hightower. They're all fast as hell. Get the ball to them in space and let them make a play. Don't worry about them getting 45 yards down the field and then trying to force feed it to him. Carson's not going to have that time today. And lastly, a balanced attack. Run the damn football, Doug.
Right.
I mean, what did you see 2 years ago on that Sunday night game against the Rams when they were 13-point dogs on the road with Nick Foles under center after Carson went out with the broken vertebrae and they shut him down for the year? Josh Adams and Wendell Smallwood went off that night and they beat up on the Rams pretty good. The Rams got some garbage time points at the end. It was a lot closer than it seemed. Secondly, you go back to last year. Carson went against the Packers on the road, Thursday Night Football, 27 pass attempts. Carson on the road in bad weather against the good Buffalo Bills team and the good defense the Bills have, 23 pass attempts or 24 pass attempts. Balanced attack. Run the ball. Running the ball sets up play action for your speed down the field later in the game. Like, if Carson – I said it last week and I'm going to say it again. If Carson Wentz if you look back at his line in the box score after this game, and he throws the ball over 40 times, it is not going to bode well for the Eagles today, and it is probably going to be a loss. I'm telling he cannot drop back. Run the ball early. I don't care if it's not there right away. Keep pounding them because you running the ball takes Aaron Donald off his game in the pass rush. And move the pocket. That's it. Move the pocket and run the ball, Doug. It's literally that simple to me.
Yeah, that's it.
Andy Reid 2.0.
Exactly. It's Andy's protege. And we've seen it for how many years in Philadelphia. When they get pass happy, they're pass like when they're on their A game, and when Doug's calling that game against Carolina on Thursday night in the Super Bowl year, against Green Bay on Thursday night, against the Rams 2 years ago, whatever. When he's on his A game and Andy's on his A game, they're two of the best coaches in the NFL. They're two of the best offensive minds in the NFL when they're rolling. But they get too damn pass happy too damn often, and it kills this team and it kills Carson Wentz.
Yep. We touched on this during the pregame show last week when we heard that Lane Johnson was out, and we saw a right side of the offensive line that never played together during camp. It was just mind-boggling, and you nailed it. You absolutely nailed it, Dylan. When Lane Johnson's out, Doug Peterson's going to throw, and the winning percentage of the Eagles when Carson's throwing 40, 50 times a game is like 0. They don't win if they don't establish the run. Brian, go ahead.
Are we going game predictions now?
Yeah.
I got a little distracted. With that being said, I think Doug puts it together. Doug is great against the Rams. He's great against Sean McVay. It's Goff versus Wentz, the 1 and 2 picks of the 2016 draft class. I think he outplays Jared Goff. And I think they both have bounce-back games. I'm going to split. It's not going to be that easy. I'm going to say Eagles 27, Rams 20 or 23.
All right. Got the dub. Go ahead, Brian. Game prediction.
Well, I think it starts with obviously Doug Peterson and play calling. But I predict that the Eagles will lose. And the reason why I say that, I can see it going either way. It goes down to a last second field goal is my prediction. It's a close game, 21-20 Rams.
Okay. All right.
It's not just I think that the team plays a lot better. I don't like to go against the Eagles. I gotta be real, and I just think it's also up to Carson Wentz. You gotta be consistent as well. And if you're going to make mistakes week after week, obviously last week was the first week, but that kind of goes to show, what the rest of the season can be if he's going to play like that. And I'm tired of hearing the excuse, we got to do better. I'm tired of hearing that. Just do your job. That's all. It's like Doug Peterson, do your job, run the ball. So anyway.
Real quick, Mike Garafolo, Jalen Hurts is active today for the Eagles. He's the number 2 QB.
Jalen Hurts is active today?
He's the number 2 QB, not Nate Sudfeld.
Oh, baby, here we go.
Do you think if Carson Wentz does bad, they put by the second half they put Jalen Hurts in?
No, you live and die, Carson. Go ahead, Dylan.
I want to say no. I don't think so. I think that's another reason why I'm actually for some reason I'm grateful there's no fans in Lincoln Financial.
Amen.
Because the first bad pass, the first interception, the first sack, whatever, first strip sack, they're cheering for Jalen Hurts to get put in. I can't stand it. But the only thing that catches my eye is that unless something's wrong with Nate Sudfeld that they haven't came out and said, why is Jalen Hurts the number 2 quarterback?
Yeah.
Maybe they're going to use him in a Wildcat.
No, I got you there. I'm fine with it. Put it this way. The pick is asinine to me. It still is until I see it work. Now, if they put him, the only way it works is if he's playing and you put him inside the red zone and you put him in that formation, whatever you want to do. That fine, I'm for it. But the number 2 quarterback part doesn't add up unless Nate Sudfeld isn't healthy, because that means if Carson goes down, you're trusting a kid with a rookie with no preseason experience, a weird training camp. He wasn't the number 2 in training camp. He wasn't getting those reps. You're now trusting him to go in and pick this game up instead of Nate Sudfeld. That's weird to me. That I get him being active. He's your second round pick. He needs to be active. He needs to produce because your second round pick from last year isn't producing on the field either in J-Jaw. But the fact that you bumped him from the third string to 2, that's weird to me.
I take that as a positive, guys. And you're absolutely right, Dylan. Could you imagine if there were fans in the stands today? The boo boards will be out. You know that the second Jalen Hurts goes in a red zone offense, scores a touchdown. You know, all the the haters of Carson Wentz would be out. Let's go on to my game prediction. I think this is going to be a really tough game, guys. Starting the season 0-2 is staring Doug Peterson in the face. And I think this is a real gut check for Carson Wentz and Doug Peterson, who absolutely have to rebound here. You guys nailed it. You talked on the schedule. You look at the Bengals, San Fran, Baltimore, and Pittsburgh. They're looming, guys. So that 0-2 start facing that brutal schedule is a really scary thought, knowing the Eagles fans and social media and all that. Earlier in the week, I wasn't really feeling that good about this game. My heart tells me the Eagles play really hard today, put together a much more balanced attack game plan, a smarter game plan. My gut was telling me that Aaron Donald was just going to wreck the Eagles defensive line, but I got to say, I don't know whether it was like hanging out in South Philly last night, hanging out with the Fandemic crew. I'm feeling good today. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling much more confident. I think the biggest improvement this week is not even a guy on the field. I think that's Doug Peterson, and I think we're seeing that. I think Jalen Hurts being active is not even about Jalen Hurts playing the field. It's that they're going to really start to implement a much more creative game plan, a much more creative offense, with that. So let's go 24-21. Eagles get the W. The defensive line is the true star of the game. I think Doug Peterson's finally going to put his players in a position to succeed. D-Jax and Jalen Reagor, they're finally going to get the ball in space. I see them being very much implemented, just like the Rams do with their wide receivers in that screen game, in the quick slant game, reversals, you name it. 24-21 Eagles. Any comment on that, Dylan? Oh, whoever.
No, I'm sorry. I was just going to say we haven't really talked much about Ertz and Goddard. And I think that, obviously with Ertz, we need to get him the ball more. And we need to he needs to play better as well, get open. And Goddard, I'm not too worried about, but we know one of these tight ends are going to help with the blocking game. We know that. But I expect Ertz to play better, and I expect them to pass him the ball more. So
I agree. I think Doug does have to work the middle of the field as well. But one thing that I'm interested to see, I know I said I'm actually grateful a little bit that there are no fans there today because of the whole Carson deal and the way he played week 1 in second half. But with that being said, Lincoln Financial Field is a huge home field advantage for the Eagles. And look, you can agree or disagree with Goodell about how it's not a competitive advantage to have fans in some stadiums and not in others. I don't understand how that's fair at all, how the Eagles can't have fans when the Cowboys come to town, but then we got to travel to Dallas and play in front of 30,000 screaming Cowboys fans. I don't get it. But with that being said, where does the energy come from today? Darius Slay touched on it. I forget who tweeted it, but someone said, Eagles reporter said that a couple of the players said that week 1 felt like a practice or a scrimmage with no fans being there. That can't happen. That can't I understand it, but that mindset cannot happen in the regular. You're going nowhere this season. This is how it's going to be this year, in my opinion. I know it's changing. It's ever changing, and that maybe by November or late October, there could be a change and Eagles get a limited capacity. But as of right now, you can't look at it with that mind. You have to look at it as this is how it is. This is the normal this year. And you have to draw energy from somewhere. Darius Slay, I don't know if you guys saw his mic'd up video. You have guys all over this team, at least defensively. Brandon Graham, Darius Slay, Jalen Mills. They're loud. They're energetic. They have to get this team ready to go before kickoff.
Nailed it. All right, let's wrap it up. Plug time. You're up, Dylan.
Spitballing on Wednesdays with me and Mike Small, Philly podcast. Look, if you watched it, thank you. I know we were a little down in the dumps this week, but how could you not be with the way this bullpen has been playing and how they fell to the second wildcard spot? And now ever since that show, when we were talking about Bryce Harper's slump, the dude's looking like he's just going to will the Phillies to the postseason this year and get us a red October. So spitball with me and Mike Small on Wednesday nights, and then my Faithful Fanatics podcast. You can catch our reactions to this Eagles-Rams game as well as next weekend, Phillies, etc. Philly for 4 with that. And then I might be doing an Eagles reaction tomorrow, Monday reaction, just so it's fresh.
Love it. Brian, anything you want to plug, dude?
Yeah, just join me this week on the Joe Show. Just talk, Phillies, Eagles sports, and hopefully every week I can come join you if that's okay with you. I find entertainment in it, and I still think that Greg Ward is player of the game. So no, I still think I was right though, half right last week. Because he did have 6 receptions for I can't remember how many yards, but he did pretty well last week. And comparing him and Goddard had I think the most receptions together. So
he's the new Jason Avant.
Right.
Oh my God!
Third down, Mr. Third Down is Greg Ward moving forward. Yeah, I saw a stat. He was like he has the 5th most yards or receptions or something, in Eagles history for wide receivers. I love it. I love Greg Ward, man. I love that guy to death.
One last thing before we get going here.
Yeah, man.
JJ Arcega.
Who?
What?
My man. If you play 30 snaps again, I think you played 29 last week. Can you at least get open enough to be targeted? All I heard all offseason, all the pictures I've seen, he looks like a new man. It's a different J-Jaw. This is the J-Jaw the Eagles drafted last year in the 2nd round. So on and so on. He wasn't even targeted week 1. Are you kidding me?
And I heard there's a lot of complaints too that the Eagles need a slot. The Eagles need a possession receiver. They need a possession receiver. This guy is not even on the.
I never thought I'd say it, but I can't wait for Alshon Jeffrey to get back.
I mean, that's
look.
That's.
I don't know if you're gonna make a difference this year. Yeah, probably a little bit better.
I'm dragging on here, right? But what we saw last year with Carson in the final 4 weeks, willing this team to a home playoff game with garbage cans at receiver. I know Dobbs, your boy Greg Ward, was out there and he was the number 1 option. But guess what? When your number 1 option from a playoff run gets pushed to a number 4 or 5 option, that's a pretty damn good thing in my opinion. I know there's no superstar receivers on this active roster right now, but there's enough. And I know Doug got all these new toys and weapons and speed, and he tried to utilize them in week 1. He did it the wrong way. The deep balls will come, man. They will come. But you can't just try to force it 55 yards down the field every other snap. So, yeah, to me, Deshaun Jackson, Jalen Reagor, Zach Ertz, Dallas Goedert, Greg Ward, J-Jaw, the running backs that can all catch the ball out of the backfield, that is enough, man. And getting Lane back, if the Eagles lose today, they are in serious trouble. I don't think they're going to.
I know the percentages of making the playoffs for teams that start 0-2 is not good, man. It is not pretty. Let's wrap this up. Party on Broad will be right after the game. When that game clock hits 0, we'll be doing a post-game reaction. Everyone's welcome. It's going to be a ton of fun. Last week, it was pretty heated. There are F-bombs flying like everything. It was wild. And my man Rob, our co-host here, he was letting the Eagles have it, mainly Doug Peterson. Check us out here at Party on Broad at the Painted Lines YouTube channel for that post game. For myself, for Dylan, for Brian. Thanks for watching, guys. See you at the post game show later. Good night.
See you guys.